As with every one of these monumental studio implosions, information begins to slowly trickle out about the cracks in the foundation that led up to the failures. In the case of FNTASTIC and the day before, we are now starting to get those details, and it turns out even the devs claim they were in the dark. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and I actually expected it to take a bit longer than this for ex-FNTASTIC devs to start pulling back the curtain and giving us a look at the underbelly of working on the day before, but as with this entire drama, conventional wisdom is just chucked right out the window. Thanks again for your awesome levels of support you've been showing the channel. In case you haven't done so already, remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are, of course, greatly appreciated. And let's check out the latest from the day before. What if I told you that even the dev team at FNTASTIC that worked on the day before has no idea why this game was ever called an MMO? This and more was recently posted in a DualShockers article, link in the video description, where they were able to get in touch with an ex-FNTASTIC dev and they got some answers. And by the way, no clue as to if this is a paid or unpaid volunteer. But as the previously highly wishlisted game on Steam, this next genre-defining zombie survival MMO saga has exploded, actually leading to the game no longer on sale and refunds being mass issued. Confirmations to many of our suspicions are now being made public. Probably one of the biggest points of contention with the day before is the wild difference in how the game was marketed. Again, a zombie survival MMO to what was then delivered, a poor man's extraction shooter. And this is further aided by FNTASTIC, who have attempted to clumsily try to scrub any proof of what it was originally shown to be on the internet by deleting all the old trailers from their YouTube channel, again raising alarm bells. Well, those concerns were validated when this ex-employee told DualShockers that the game was never intended to be an MMO, despite continuously being marketed as such. I never saw it as an MMO project, they began. No one from our team knows why they called it an MMO. It was always a third-person shooter with some co-op mechanics. Not one RPG mechanic was implemented. Skills were an idea, and they were in the prototype stage, but nothing more. And this plays neatly into what we've always known about FNTASTIC from previous dev leaks and statements. It was dysfunctional at best, pushing and hyping up the day before videos and promos, only to pivot over to introduce games like Prop Night or their Continent Office app. I mean, how many times was the launch announced, then delayed? Remember back, there was a point that a very large trailer premiere was planned with IGN, and FNTASTIC just straight up missed the deadline, leading to a lo-fi campfire set on repeat that lasted for hours until it was eventually delayed until the next day. I mean, this was the norm for FNTASTIC, and here we see a dev team, from all reports, it was unpaid volunteers scattered around the four corners of the planet, working remotely, who were always working on a third-person extraction shooter, and still have no idea why it was marketed as a survival MMO, which, by the way, I do question. They have to have seen the trailers, right? They knew what this game was being marketed as, and this is probably a case of not wanting to raise their voice and lose their jobs. When further questioned about this dysfunction, with the development and marketing teams seemingly going in polar opposite directions, this developer highlights the lack of communication from FNTASTIC founders Edward and Eisen as the point of contention. No one could explain that. Maybe the CEOs knew something and didn't tell us. Technically speaking, there was no RPG mechanics implemented. There was no possible way to put a lot of people in the world or make the world bigger. From the beginning, the idea was that servers would be under 100 people. This is not an MMO. No clans, no raids, closed hubs. It's been that way for over 2 years. They followed up by saying that the day before was always intended to be modeled after a mix of Rust, DayZ, and Escape From Tarkov. Okay, so we've got some reality being laid bare for sure, and for the most part, yeah, it's pretty accurate. There are no RPG elements, it's not an MMO, there are no clans, raids, or closed hubs, and yes, it seems to be modeled after Rust, DayZ, and Tarkov. All of that I can agree with. But where it starts to steer away from believable, at least for me, is where they mention the 2 years in development in their statement. Who knows? Maybe they just weren't in the know. Maybe they are referring to the pre-planning portions of the game. But this game did not take them 2 years to get to the final product that was then released on Steam less than a week ago. I mean, there's just no way in hell you can convince me of that. I played it. I saw it with my very own eyes, and there's no way that took 2 years. That was thrown together in the shortest amount of time possible to launch something, anything, so they could then grab some quick cash, which, by the way, that plan has now fallen to pieces, but that's what it looks and feels like to me. 9 months ago, I posted this video to the channel. The day before dev warns, do not buy this game, where I had found this obscure Russian media article explaining that they had interviewed current FNTASTIC developers working on the game, and it outlined the chaos, the dysfunction, and downright abuse thrown around in the workplace environment. And I mentioned that upload because here again, we see all of that on display. The day before's development was completely led by the brothers who made every gameplay and design decision. The developer described the chaotic working conditions of FNTASTIC, where the studio's founders disregarded feedback from the team and made massive development decisions based on whims. A lot of good ideas from our team were disregarded because Edward and Eisen didn't approve them, like voice chat. Anyone who complained too much was kicked off the team. A lot of stupid ideas were implemented, removed, and re-implemented because the brothers thought they knew better than us about what people wanted. A huge amount of time and work was wasted because jobs had to be done and redone. Disagreeing with the founders' opinions, even if it seemed obvious, risked you being fired. When it came to heated disputes, contracts were usually terminated. Employees often avoided direct conflict with them because they were afraid of losing their jobs. Then they went on to confirm the authenticity of the internal sales message I actually found over on Reddit, and to speculate that it was publisher Mytona that was responsible for shutting down FNTASTIC. DualShockers has reached out to Mytona for comment. Nothing yet. Sadly, nothing new to our ears about those brothers. Working for them has been described by multiple sources as abusive, and you feel bad for anyone that had to endure that kind of behavior. I guess for a lot of the gaming world, there are still so many questions about FNTASTIC and the day before. How was this clearly, chaotically led group able to manipulate and peddle their obviously fake product as far as they were able to? They were able to push all the right buttons and got the day before to the #1 most wishlisted game over on Steam without ever really revealing anything. Anytime there was controversy, they had some sort of crazy response. Anytime there was a release date set and missed, they made promises and people believed them. And that's what's so mental about all of it. People actually bought the noise and took it as gospel even when alarm bells were ringing left, right, and center. Well, I think this is just the opening volley in what is going to prove to be a long and wild road as more and more information is revealed as to exactly what happened to the day before. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are greatly appreciated. All my socials can be found in the video description. Shout out to the nearly 186,000 of you that have stuck with me and hit subscribe. And a special thanks goes out to my Patreon supporters. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.